So Pixar and Disney continue making these absurd mistakes with budgets for movies. Okay. So Elio, a movie that no one has, I don't think anyone's gonna watch this movie. It looks awful. It looks terrible. Okay. I'm not paid by Pixar like all these big, YouTubers are to say that I'm excited for this movie. I'm not excited for this movie. I'm gonna tell you straight up here. I'm not excited for you. I actually even forgot this movie was coming out, you know, as well. But Elio is coming out, and this might pass Snow White as the biggest failure of all time. Okay, because I think this movie is gonna open to similar to Elemental as well, and I don't think it's gonna have that TikTok effect like Elemental had. Well, Elemental had a bunch of TikToks going around, and it made a lot of people want to go see it. It was very, very similar to the legs of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, a movie that did very, very, very poorly in its very first week, but because of Christmas and of course the movie releasing, and also TikTok, basically all the young people advertising Elemental for free, basically TikTok basically saved that movie from dying. And it isn't the only time where TikTok helped a movie do well, but I just don't think Elio had the same appeal as well. Pixar has struggled over the past couple of years. With the exception of Inside Out 2, every Pixar movie has failed. White Yale, was a failure because of its woke stuff. So Luca and Tony Red would have skipped feeders altogether. And of course, Elemental, became a flop to a basically a movie that did mid at the box office. It still didn't break even in the theaters, but I just don't think this movie is gonna make it back its money. $300 million. Okay, Elemental had that quote unquote comeback, and it couldn't even pass $500 million globally. How the fuck is Elio gonna make back its money? It cost $100 million more. Okay, and I'm gonna go on to calculate and see how much money this movie needs to make. So times 2.5 is 750. So Elio, okay, we can look at the highest grossing Pixar movies, as well. You know, so Pixar as a company. Okay, we'll look at the global numbers, not the domestic numbers. Screw you, box office mojo. Wikipedia, does Wikipedia have a good for global? Yeah. Here, do they have it all here? So they have the North America. Okay, well, it's global. So it will need to be in the top 10 Pixar movies of all time. The last original Pixar movie that ended up making $800 million was Inside Out and Coco. Okay, that was when original movies still did very well at the box office, especially animated ones. But original movies just don't do too well anymore. It's just a absolute fact. People don't care for original movies. Original movies are not advertised as much as sequels, prequels, or reboots. And yes, Sinners was a success, but I don't think Elio is a Sinners. Okay, I don't think Elio is gonna do like Sinners did. Okay, it is. I just don't see the appeal for this movie. The main character looks mid. It has a beam off art style. The character designs look mid. I watched the trailer. There's generic. It's just alien. It's basically like a rip off of Star Wars, basically without the lightsabers as well. Actually, I'm sorry, but the highest grossing original toys Pixar movie was Finding Nemo. I'm talking about ones that came out in the 2010s, but ones pre 2010. We're not counting because of course it gets those for inflation, obviously. But Inside Out and Coco, this movie's not gonna make Inside Out and Coco numbers. Okay, Coco was very, very popular amongst Latin America, and also it made so much money because it also resonated with Chinese audiences as well. Inside Out 2, was about the emotions and stuff, and that movie did very well because of the unique concepts for Inside Out. But you know, you know, but how is this movie Yeah. Okay. I just do not understand why Pixar and rest of the extent Disney keeps making these mistakes. Okay. Why? It's not, of course it's not just Pixar is making these same mistakes. It's Disney too. Okay, and Pixar's excuse is why the movies are more expensive because they want that quote unquote Pixar quality. Oh yeah, the quality, the so-called Pixar quality. Yeah, that existed in the 2000s. But look at DreamWorks. DreamWorks, they don't need to make so much money on the movies. Okay, they can have a small movie like Dogman. Okay, have a smaller budget movie and be successful. Okay, Dogman, what I heard, wasn't a very great movie. I know some people liked it, but it wasn't a very great movie. What I heard, I didn't get the movie. I have no interest in seeing this movie, as well. You know, but Dogman still made a decent chunk of money globally, $144 million. And you might think that's a huge failure, but that movie only need to make $100 million to break even, which means Dogman made a lot of money without having to, if it was a Pixar movie, that this would be a Dogman. This would have been a huge, huge, ginormous failure. Okay, because they usually spend $200 to $300 million in every one of the movies. Okay, I have some just don't understand the cult behind Pixar. Okay, Pixar is not the greatest studio in all of history. Okay, yes, they had the golden era, which was the 2000s era of Pixar. That's what I would call the golden era. But now Pixar just creates bean mouth slop. Okay, as well. And people are sick of modern Pixar. People want Pixar to go back to the soulful roots. What they told meaningful stories. What they told stories that people actually wanted to hear. And you know, yeah, look at The Wild Robot. That movie released last year. I know it wasn't as popular as Inside Out 2 because guess what? Inside Out 2 is, you know, a sequel. So of course it was gonna always make more money, but The Wild Robot is the type of movies that I think Pixar should be making. Meaningful stories that younger people and older people alike can connect to. Okay, because you should try to appeal towards older and younger audiences if you want to make a movie for everybody. You have to appeal towards both because people are gonna like your story if it's good, if the movie is good. Okay, as well. And Wild Robot made was a surprise hit. No one was thinking it would make that much money, but it was a surprise hit as well. Okay, and a lot of DreamWorks movies they try to balance for both audiences. Like the Shrek and Kung Fu Panda series, I think, and How to Train Dragon as well. They try to balance, trying to appeal towards younger audiences and older audiences, and even more recent movies. Like I know this is not an animated movie. These are not animated movies, but Minecraft movie and Sonic 3. Okay, with Sonic, they're trying to balance, appeasing the older fans who grew up with Sonic already, who already are familiar with the character, but also younger fans who might enjoy, who have never heard of Sonic before, and either the parents introduce them to the IP, or they just want to see it. Same thing with the Minecraft movie. The reason the Minecraft movie was so successful, I know it's an IP movie, but Minecraft balanced, appeasing the older fans of, who want to go see it with the younger fans as well. You have to make both groups of people happy. Pixar, they don't do that anymore. They just make swap now that appeals to nobody. Okay. And I still don't know why Inside Out 2 made so much money, but again, that is a sequel, okay, to to probably one of the most popular movies of the 2010s. So it isn't too surprising that movie made a lot of money. It is it is the highest grossing original movie of the 2010s, which is probably why no brainer they're making a sequel to Coco, the second highest grossing movie of the year. But do you see them making a Good Dinosaur 2? No, they're not making a Good Dinosaur 2. First of all, Good Dinosaur is a bad movie, and yeah. Actually, it's not a bad movie. It's mid. It's still fine. I still like the movie better than The Incredibles 1 and 2. Yeah, I would still rather watch The Good Dinosaur again because it's about dinosaurs and watch The Incredibles 1 and 2. Yeah, that might piss off some nostalgia people. Oh, you didn't like The Incredibles? You must have had a poor childhood. Oh, maybe it's I don't like the movie. Why can't you accept that I don't like a certain movie? Okay, as well. And DreamWorks, was Pixar's biggest competitor. Then it was Disney themselves, even though Disney and Pixar are owned by the same company, the Walt Disney Company. But now Pixar's biggest competitors is, of course, still DreamWorks, still here, and of course now Illumination. Illumination has managed to perfectly recapture, what made Pixar so great. Okay, not but what made Pixar so appealing and DreamWorks so appealing to begin with. You have to balance the what you need to have for the younger generations to make them happy, because they're not gonna want to go see Right Yell or Elio or Turning Red or Elemental. Okay, Elemental. If it wasn't for TikTok saving the movie, Elemental would have been one of the biggest Disney's flops ever. And I think you're not gonna see that comeback with Elio. Okay. It is also competing with the How to Train a Dragon remake, which I think more people are genuinely excited for that movie. As much as I don't like that movie, I don't like the fact that How to Train a Dragon is getting a remake. And also, what else is coming out against Elio? Okay, what else does Elio have to fight off? Okay, well, where was it? Yeah, well, reschedule. Okay, and you have AT's World Toy. That's not going to impact it. Elio has to fight against next week F1, which will appeal internationally. Okay, it won't do well domestically, but it's a movie that will, because F1's really popular in Europe, and Megan too. And a week before, it's How to Train a Dragon release. And then the week afterwards, you have Jurassic World Rebirth. So there is no breathing room for Elio. Okay, I know there's no animated competition. Okay, as well, because the last movie that is competing with it would be Rero and Stitz, releasing in May. Okay, not really any family competition, but you're gonna have Superman coming out. You're gonna have Smurfs coming out. It's just there's a what? Why would anyone want to go see Elio over Jurassic World, a movie with a bunch of dinosaurs, the dinosaur movie? Okay, I'm gonna save my money to watch the dinosaur movie instead of watching whatever this garbage is. And the fact that we're spending $300 million on this, it's just absolutely ridiculous as well. Okay, absolutely ridiculous. They spent 300. I know people make the excuses because of COVID, blah blah, and COVID is because they released they made this movie for some strange reason twice. Okay, like why would you just like the first version of Elio must have been so bad that they had to redo it again. Okay, they had to redo Elio again, and it's just this is just an absolute embarrassment for Pixar, and this is gonna be even. I don't think Pixar's gonna be shut down because, of course, this movie, I think they're just gonna write this movie off because they know, hey, we have Incredibles 2 free. No, 2 free. Incredibles 2 came out in 2018. Incredibles 3, Toy Story 5, and Coco 2 coming, and those are gonna make a lot of money. But I think this is gonna be Pixar's last truly original movie, where they're gonna try to recreate the success of Despicable Me and stuff with the crappy B-mouth art style. And once Pixar started using this B-mouth art style, I think that's when the movies started to really decline in quality as well. Like DreamWorks, they use a variety of animation styles with their movies as well. I know the movies don't have to be realistic, but nobody likes the beam out art style. Nobody is like, oh yeah, I really want to see this movie because of this art style. No. People don't like this art style. That's why the Mario movie, Nintendo made sure the Mario movie Mario didn't have a fucking beam mouth. He just looks like Mario. Okay, as well. But yeah, that is it about this video here, and goodbye.